Hi, welcome back to the newest video snippet from Z-fari, the zombie novel. Today we're going to read the third and last part of chapter 20. And I don't think you're ready for what's going to happen, but you might be, you never know. Okay, if you're else. And once again, I will put a link after this little snippet so that you can find out how to buy yourself a copy so that you can read it at your leisure, unless you enjoy watching these videos and want to do it that way. Anyway, so if you're all set, let's begin. Here we go. Rick was taken to what amounted to a cell, a good-sized cell, but a cell nonetheless, in the basement of the mansion. It was freed of its bonds and immediately attempted to attack the men who had freed it. They hurried out of the cell and slammed the steel door shut. Mr. Donaldson went to the basement to see his son. He had told his men to open the door so that he could hug his son. His men tried to convince him that that was a particularly bad idea. Thankfully, they succeeded. Mr. Donaldson then went to his office, turned on the cameras in the cell, and watched his zombie son stagger around the small space. Mr. Donaldson had his chef prepare Rick's favorite lunch, a nice little salade niçoise with a glass of iced tea. The chef had a member of the staff deliver it to Rick's cell. When the door was opened and the waiter placed it on the floor, Rick stumbled over and did his best to bite the waiter's head off his shoulders. The guards pulled the waiter out of the cell before he received anything worse than some deep, nasty-looking scratches that only required 5 or 6 stitches. Mr. Donaldson became despondent that evening. He didn't know what to do with his son, the zombie. The next morning, Mr. Donaldson called Ike Hayes into his office. "Mr. Donaldson," Ike said, "you wanted to see me?" "Yes, Hayes. First, you and Duvalier did an excellent job bringing my Rick back to me," the old man began. "You have my sincere thanks for that, and you will find another expression of my gratitude in your bank account." Ike wasn't exactly sure how to respond to this other than to tell Mr. Donaldson, "Thank you." Donaldson continued, "I'd like to offer you permanent employment in my organization. You can't really go back to the Border Patrol, you know. By now, they will have discovered the missing equipment and probably have questions about the original hunting trip to Peck. I'm certain they will be talking to my lawyers about my company's recent helicopter excursions into Z-land, but I don't pay those legal bastards the amount of money I do for nothing. I'm sure that any investigation they might initiate into my activities, or the activities of those in my employ, will die a quiet and permanent death." I could only nod. "Your wife has lost her employment in Dr. McDougall's lab." "Yes, I've been aware of McDougall's experiments for quite some time. I'm certain that McDougall treated Ms. Hayes poorly." "Yes, I know what kind of man he is, and I am aware of the quality and extent of Ms. Hayes' contributions to the zombie research," he said, looking deeply into Ike's eyes. "I would like to offer her a position as director of a laboratory investigating zombies and zombification. With your permission, I will call her and set up an interview." Ike was stunned. "Allison, my wife," he said, "is her own woman and makes her own decisions. Call her if you want to." Mr. Donaldson smiled. "Thank you. I will call her after our meeting is concluded. Please consider accepting my offer. I pay well and the benefits are substantial. You will not be working for Riddick. You will be working for me and my sons." "Thank you," Ike said. "I'll think about it and talk it over with my wife." He turned and left Mr. Donaldson's office. As soon as Ike left Donaldson, he called Allison. The line was busy. Ike walked back to the barracks and sat down on the bed next to the one where Bebe was lying. Ike told Bebe about his meeting with Donaldson. "He offered me about the same deal about 30 minutes ago," Bebe confided to his friend. "Did you take it?" Ike wanted to know. "I told him I'd think about it, that I wanted to talk to you," Bebe said. "If we can work together, then we both will have someone watching our backs. I'd feel much safer knowing that, if we were working for that old bastard." "Yeah," Ike said. "Let me try Allison again." Ike tried again and this time succeeded. Allison answered, and before Ike could tell her anything, she told him what Donaldson had offered. "My own lab. Money's apparently no object. It's a dream come true, baby," she said. Ike spoke to her for another 15 minutes, explaining what Donaldson's motives really were and the kind of man he really was. He had spoken to her the previous afternoon as soon as he could after the helicopter landed, but now he added some details he had left out of their earlier conversation. He hung up and turned to Bebe. "Let's get out of here," he told his friend. "Let's drive back to my place, pick up Allison, and go out for some real dinner. The 3 of us should talk about this. 3 heads better than 1 or 2. Ike and Bebe drove off in the Lumina to pick up Allison and get some real food. When Ike turned out of the Donaldson's driveway and onto the main road, he turned the wheel hard left and did donuts until his tires smoked. When they did, he drifted off to his wife.